Hello my beautiful people, thank you for joining me on another episode of the Ascension podcast. My camera wasn't working, I can't see myself, I don't know what I look like, but anyway, we're gonna just do this because who cares, because I want to get this message out to you. So today we are talking about, do we have a preoccupation with being good? Now this might seem like a really strange thing to think about or talk about because we are always encouraged to be good, right? We are always encouraged to be moral citizens in society, and of course this is so important. We all need to have morals. We all need to follow the principle of not harming anybody else in the pursuit of whatever it is that we do, which is a real Buddhism way of living, non-violence, which is something I really believe in. So we need to have this like non-violence mentality and really be compassionate to everyone in society, and also take into account feelings, how our actions affect somebody else, how consequences can travel beyond just us. It's not just us that when we do something we're affecting, it's everybody else. And this is so important. Of course every single human needs this. Of course every single child needs to be taught how powerful they are, how powerful we are, because when we carry out an action, it really does affect so many people and not just us. But is there a thing of being too good? Is there a state of being where we are so preoccupied with doing the right thing that we actually forget to live? This might be you, this might be somebody that you know. And I really want to dive into this because there's, you know, all these sayings like the nice guy finishes last and he's a nice guy and blah, blah, blah. And I think sometimes it is quite rude, but actually we want to build awareness. So I'm going to dive into this. If you've been called like a nice guy, I don't know why I do this, why I just laugh, but if you've been called like a nice guy and you are just kind of like you just feel really bogged down, it might not even be a guy, it could be like you're just somebody like, you know, there's all these sayings in society like goody two shoes and all that kind of stuff. And I just want to get to the bottom of why this might be happening, and why, if it's you, why you might be doing this, because it can just be such a state of being in that it's hard to pinpoint. And this is all about pinpointing what it is. What's the root pattern that's making us behave this way? Or what is the underlying trauma or underlying emotion that's kind of replaying for us to feel this way, right? And I want to be really clear, this is not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to be change if you don't want to change. If you're comfortable being this way, it's no shame. I'm saying it for people who are not aware. And maybe those of us who say things like he's a nice guy or she's a goody two shoes or whatever, maybe we can have more understanding of what's actually going on here and not to shame the other person, right? So the first thing is that this person is a very duty bound. Now, that means that they prioritize their duty, their sense of what they should be doing in society or in their families or in their world, higher than anything else. Like they put their duty, what they perceive to be duty, above everything else, including their personal relationships, including their feelings, including everything that, even their happiness, because they want to fulfill this duty that they feel is theirs. And of course, this is such an amazing quality to have. Everybody should have this. Every single person on earth has a duty. But it's only when you are so preoccupied with that duty that you actually forget about yourself. You actually forget about your needs, about what is good for you, what you want to do. And you're just so preoccupied with, I need to follow my duty, I need to be a good person. This comes from probably a family setting that you grew up in, where you were maybe given more responsibility than you could handle. Maybe it was you didn't get any attention and you were actually rewarded for being the person that was good. Like, you know, your mom could have said to you, oh, you're just such a good boy, like your mother's good boy. No one says mother anymore, I'm sure, but anyway, your mummy's good boy, or like you're just daddy's good girl. And then you've now internalized that as like, that's what I get rewarded for when I'm good, when I put my needs aside and make the other person feel good. That's my value, that's what I'm getting rewarded for, that's what I should keep doing. Maybe when you put your needs in front of the other person, maybe when you needed certain needs met, it wasn't received well. It was like you didn't get attention. Maybe you got told off. Maybe you got punished. This is a real thing. When parents see children as an extension of themselves, they can definitely feel like, yeah, like I don't want that person to express their needs, you know? I want that person to be like make my life good. Whether this is like, whether they're aware of it or not. And then when someone is in that state of always feeling rewarded or feeling even comfortable, it could even be a survival thing, you know? I always talk about how dependent we are as a species on our families. And if we are dependent on survival, like we are for survival, if we are dependent on our caregivers to feed us, to clothe us, to give us love, which is a basic human need. I know some kind of like people say love is not a basic human need. I disagree. It is. It's a basic need. So yeah, and that's the thing that you got rewarded for, and you got punished for being individual, for being an individual, for having needs that got in the way, that conflicted with your caregivers, right? This is something that would make you really carry forward that duty-bound feeling to everything in your life, because that's what's trained into you. And until we find this root pattern and reprogram, part of this video is for you to find this root pattern and recognize it in yourself or recognize it in others and have compassion for that. Not shame, have compassion. And maybe even share this video to that person who you think might be struggling with the weight of duty, the severe weight of duty, the imbalance of duty. So another thing that this causes is, like I touched upon, is you are just so, or they are just not in touch with their own feelings anymore. You've actually now had to disconnect from yourself to be this person. Because if you're so preoccupied with duty, you put that higher than everything else, you're gonna now disregard what you need, how you feel, what you want to do, to such a degree that if someone was to ask you, how do you feel? Or what do you want to do? Or how do you want to go about this? You will actually not have a clue. You might say something and you might think it's what you want, but actually to be this person, you would have had to disconnect from your own feelings. And that's a heavy price to pay, because your feelings are your navigation in this world. Your feelings are your navigation towards whether you're doing something that is good for you or whether you're doing something that's not good for you. When you feel uplifted, happy, feeling enthusiastic, feeling love, like you know that this experience, you're going into the direction of vibrational alignment. If you're feeling depressed, down, you're in a rut, you know that this experience is taking you away from alignment. But if you are this personality who is duty bound, you've disconnected from your own guidance system, and you actually don't know how you feel. And you actually don't know how you feel about the situation that you're in. And this is something that's a crucial piece that you're missing out on, right? And it's a heavy price to pay, because, you know, like I say, emotions are a guidance system. And maybe this is another danger, right? Another danger of being like this is maybe the way your perception of what is good, your perception of the duty that you have could actually be put on you by somebody else. Maybe your perception of what is moral in society is not even yours. This is a whole different episode, but good and bad they're actually subjective. There's obviously universal good and bad things. Like, you don't go and kill somebody, right? We know that you shouldn't do that. But other things, like in some cultures, in some society, it is bad for you to be autonomous. It is bad for you to go against your parents' decisions. It is bad to kind of abandon your responsibilities. So these things, and then if you go to different cultures, it's not. It's not. And it's, you know, this is a very cultural thing. Different cultures have different things that are good and bad. So if you're duty bound and you're carrying out this preoccupation with being good and disconnecting from your feelings, and you're really following this path, you have to be careful that this is something that could be put on you by society. And if you want to know more about this topic, you should go and listen to my podcast about why I don't agree with the prison system, because I do go into more about morals and how sometimes what is good is not actually good and what is bad is not actually bad. We don't live in a black and white world, right? And we all live in one world, but within that world there are many different universes. So this is a real danger of being just completely not even knowing if what you're following is actually your path. And you can only know that once you're in touch with your feelings, once you actually check in with yourself, once you know about your own opinions. And then the other thing is just about freedom, feeling liberated. Like, if you don't feel uplifted, if you don't feel that you can be free in society, if you don't feel that you have that power to, you know, go and do what you want, then there's something that's not right, because we should all have autonomy. I do want to touch about mental slavery, because it is mental slavery when you cannot follow what you want to do. Again, that's a whole different topic. It's a whole different topic, but it is when you can't follow what you want to do in society, when you don't feel that you can act, when you feel that you can't, you don't have influence in your world, and you feel that you can't do anything like that. That's mental slavery. And that's something that you are bound by, and it will not make you feel empowered, and it will not make you feel liberated. And it's a real thing. So I want you to check in with yourself about these things. And 50% of lifting up any kind of issue or problem is having awareness of the situation. So I want you to really have awareness of this. And I want you to share this video with anyone you think it can help, because at the end of the day, someone could be feeling the weight of this on their shoulders and think that it's their personality when it's not. It's something that they've been trained to do, and it's something that is actually blocking them, because you should have the freedom to decide what you want to do in life. So anyway, guys, I really hope this helped you, and just, subscribe if you want to see more of me. I hope I can upload this, because I have no clue what I look like. I mean, in the sense, like, I have no clue whether my head's chopped off, whatever, because I have one of those cameras where I can't flip the screen. I use like an external monitor to see, but that just didn't work. But I still did it because I wanted to get this message out to you guys, because I really care about this. Anyway, lots and lots of love, and see you on the next episode. Mwah.